Hello, good morning, bienvenidos. Mi nombre es Andrés Salazar. Aquí estamos en Art of Comics, lo YouTube channel. Y hoy vamos a hablar de fantasy art, los masterpieces de fantasy arte. This is by Taschen. Taschen. You beautiful, wonderful German company. Once again, Taschen does it. They've now made, Taschen has got, I guess, I'm going to call it their greatest hits. Basically, they call it the 40th edition, where they will grab books. I guess because it was 1980, it started in 1980. So 2020, they decided to grab like the best ones or the whatevers. And they made little chiquito versions, chiquitos. Because these normally are big ass tomes, big, 11 by 15 type things. And then they got some their favorites. I've got like the Basquiat one. I've got a couple photography ones. And so they get those and they make them small, make them cheap. So instead of $100 or $200, you're paying like $30. And ba-boom. Well, I decided to buy one. And we're reading today Masterpieces of Fantasy Art. It was super fun. I enjoy, you guys know I like illustration and fantasy art. And so why don't we just do a little looky through the book and chit-chat about it. Let's do it. Come on, let's do this. Oh, did you know? Wait, before I do that, did I tell you? This is my original artwork. That's right, dude. I'm getting ready for an art show. May the 3rd here in Ventura, California. I will have the opening of a solo gallery art show in Ventura. After May the 3rd, for the whole month of May, we will have the gallery open to come and see the art, and if you want, you can take some home with you. But May the 3rd is the big opening. I'm excited to do it. I hope you guys, those of you who are local or interested in coming down, that would be wonderful. It'd be a great show. If you want to see some of the work that will be there, it'll also be on the website, the andressalazarart.com. Okay? Or you can even go to salazar-entertainment.com. Both of those go to the same spot. So, that little commercial out of the way, let's look at some art. Let's do it.
Are you ready?
Okay, everybody, we are ready to look at Taschen's new book, or not new book, but new to me, Masterpieces of Fantasy Art. This, I had no idea really what it was. I know it was like $25, and I was like, I want it. What's fun about these books, this is Mobius, is that they're done in the 3 major languages, at least as far as they're concerned, English, German, and French. And so you'll have sections that are basically the same exact thing, but just the different languages. It's kind of fun. This is a collection of various artists. I think that's N.C. Wyeth and Boris. And they're really great pieces. And it's just like different artists doing it. There's Frazetta. And we'll just kind of walk through some of it. I'm not going to go through like every whatever. But, Boris Vallejo talks about being in Lima, Peru. I did not know he was Peruvian, so didn't even know that. So that was kind of fun. And so here we go. Here's English, right? My Fantasy Life. Yeah, it was NC Wyeth, I thought so. And then here's it in German, Ich nicht Beligak, and then here it is in French. And so it's kind of fun. Look at these great art pieces. Just a master of like airbrush. I think it's airbrush, isn't it? Isn't it airbrush or is it oils? It might be both. I think he does oil. He says oil, so maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's all oil. It looks airbrush to me, but maybe it's all oil. Diane Hansen, which does a couple of these books. I think he did the Frazetta book. He did this book. He's an author of this kind of genre of illustration. And so he talks a little bit about fantasy, how it all began in the beginning, and kind of the history of it, which is kind of fun. When I bought this book, you buy it because it's cheap and it's kind of small, but then when I get it, I'm like, man, I really wish this was the big size. It's 4 times the cost or more, but some of these pieces you really feel like deserve to be enjoyed on larger things. So you just gotta stick your head in here and really get down to it. But I dig it. I dig it mucho. Yeah, so he's kind of going through the history of artwork. I like that piece. That's kind of cool too. Is this who is this? Norman Saunders. Yeah, I like it. It's very nice. Looks like it's oil too. So if you don't know the history of fantasy art, it's kind of cool. There's Tolkien, some Tolkien stuff. And now, so here's the German. And so new art. So you get to look at the new art, but it's, don't have to do the reading. There's some Wally Wood, I think, right? Or is it Frazetta? No, this is Frazetta. That's Frazetta again. It's just, I mean, he was just, I bought the Frazetta book, by the way. So I will do the Frazetta thing. And I bought the big version. So we will look at that. I'm actually in the middle of reading it now, which I enjoy. It's been a lot of fun. It's kind of cool. That's nice. I like these like albums. Frazetta. Oh, Simonson. I mean, Wrightson. Bernie Wrightson. That's nice. Can you guys see that? Sorry, sometimes I worry that the camera, you get a bit of a glare because of the camera. So I'll try to, maybe I should hold it like this. There. Hopefully, was it bad the whole time? Hopefully not. Droulet. So yeah, now we're talking about Droulet, or are we talking about just in common in general? Boris. That's cool. What is that? Jeff Jones. Jeff Jones, who then had not a sex change, but like a identity change, gender change. I don't know what they call it. Trans? I don't know what the term is for this, but Jeff Jones later became Catherine Jones, Jeffrey Catherine, where he and she is an amazing artist. And we're going to definitely, I want to spend a little time on that because she's the real deal. She's the real freaking deal. There's some, of course, Mobius. There's Brom. Gerald Brom. He done some wonderful stuff for like Wizards of the Coast, TSR, Dragonland stuff. Larry Elmore, which I think I talked about that years ago. I did a video on Larry Elmore's book, which I really enjoyed. I got that on Kickstarter a long time ago. Cross-Gen Comics. Remember Cross-Gen? Yeah. Some more Dungeons and Dragons stuff. I liked it. I mean, when you think of fantasy artwork, you think of heavy metal, Dungeons and Dragons, Tolkien, right? Those are like the 3 big, like, illustrative type stuff. Now, James Allen St. John, I'm not that familiar with him, but he is one of the guys. He's one of the earliest guys. And I need to, like, get on him because people reference him a lot. James Allen St. John. I need to go and find some of his work. People talk about that a lot. This is a beautiful piece too. Okay. Let's jump around to one of our first artists. Blue New Wave. I read this book probably like a weekend. I was just so excited. Well, because there's not that much reading, I just really enjoyed the artwork, and I was excited to share it with you guys. Okay, here we go. Now we're going to start looking at these individual artists. Julie Bell. So Julie Bell, the spouse of Boris Vallejo. Actually, I think he was married, and they met. I think she was a bit of a homewrecker. I think that's the official term. She was a homewrecker. She was a bodybuilder. There, she's right there. Look at her. My goodness. She's a bodybuilder. He was into bodybuilding. I think she modeled for him. Oh wait, no, it was. She was married with a husband. Yeah, she was married with 2 kids and got into bodybuilding. And I think she met Vallejo. Yeah, she met Vallejo, who was an artist. And I don't know if he might not have been married. I don't know. But she was. So anyway, we don't need to focus on that shit. Let's focus on the art. She does have a style similar to his, at least at first glance, but then you start seeing the deviations, and she's much more. This has great detail, great with animals. Of course, you can see things like feathers and colors, the tapestry, the flowingness of the fabric, very kind of feminine lines. Very beautiful, and the colors are just really, really cool. I like this piece a lot. Yeah, she's the real deal, dude. She's not just somebody's wife. And they've got, I guess, these calendars that they've been putting out for many. I mean, I've seen them for years, but these calendars are evidently like the freaking top selling thing in the world. Look at the colors of these two. Just the blues are just really incredible. Really like them a lot. And then the reds here. Talk about cool and warm, right? I mean, you just feel the temperature. And this is beautiful. These animals, she does a lot of animal stuff, and these animals are just really nicely done. And of course, there's some, there's a female there. There's some boobs to set it going, but there's a lot more than just that. She's the real thing. Yeah, I like her a lot. Yeah. Droulet, Philippe Droulet. This is a guy that is, I didn't know he was born in Toulouse. Oh, wow. That's interesting. Didn't know that. This is a guy who is just, I feel like from another freaking world. His artwork is so different. The palette, the conception, the design, the things, it's just a nightmarish world. There's sexuality to it. Clearly, these big ass titties, the techno-y, organic-y. It's just, I don't know what to say. It's out there. More than even Mobius does. I think Mobius is kind of softer. Droulet, I feel, is harder. I mean, clearly you see these very sharp masculine lines everywhere. I'm using these gender terms for artwork sometimes, but it's very, it's trippy. I mean, there's beautiful stuff like this too. This is airbrush, of course, but yeah, I mean, just these faces and everything. It's quite intriguing. And again, in the detail, the level of the detail which begats this idea of history, and I mean, and then there's like horror, and yeah, it's It's crazy, man. It's crazy. I mean, people talk about Geiger being wild, but I think Droulet is even wilder in some ways. That would be you know, that would be something. To side by side Droulet and Geiger. Look at this stuff. And just, again, you like these pieces that have just a lot going on just because you could spend so much time looking at all these figures and these big armies. It's quite fascinating. And again, in his color theory too, I did a video, go check it out, about color theory and using color, and he is one of those guys that really know what's up. Frazetta. I'm actually not going to spend too much time on Frazetta on this video because we have that book that is all about Frazetta. So I'll be somewhat brief on this. But handsome dude, Depression era, New Yorker, Brooklyn, baseball player, ladies' man, all men want to be him, and had a damn good art career. Started doing comics, moved into illustration, and became one of the most renowned and known work as far as film production, covers, imagery, this one alone, And it's not even that big. This is only 28 by 25 inches, so it's not even like, it's basically like 2 feet, 2 feet by 2 feet. It's a little rectangular, but it's not even that big. Great use of colors, though. He's got a great command of anatomy and composition. The way he composes this, there's a huge sensual element to this too. It's masculine, feminine. The colors in here, the deep richness of the colors, almost like the Dutch masters. You've got this beautiful contrast here. It's all perfectly set up, compositionally speaking. The flesh of the body is multiple colors. He's not just using, a couple colors. He's using a lot of different colors in there to really give it texture. And there's sexuality, of course, all these positions. And he was an ass man, so there's a lot of ass in this. This is just this here. Forget about her, but just like this kind of stuff, the way this is kind of fading into these colors is really fun. It's really good. Here too, you have a lot of this. I'm moving my art. I've been doing for the fine art painting. I've been doing a lot of like abstract stuff, but I'm moving into figurative things now, and representational drawings and paintings. And now that I'm doing that, I'm going to be really utilizing some of these kind of like ideas of layering, glazing on the figure. I like this one a lot too. The rocks, all this stuff. Looks like he's even using a palette knife for some of this. But yeah, this is all very smooth. And blended in just right, that the way that oils can. So I said I wasn't going to talk about him, but he's just so damn good. You got to. That's good. These are all really good. I mean, he inspired a generation, right? I mean, he's considered one of these guys. I think everybody who's serious about art goes through a Frazetta phase. And some people stick in that world, and some people eventually will kind of move out of it. And, it is what it is, but I think everyone does have a phase of loving Frazetta. Look at that. Just beautiful form. Geiger. We're talking about H. Geiger. This is a Swiss gentleman who also has an element of danger and sexuality. Look at his face there. He's spooky. There's sexuality. There is horror, right? And we talked about inspiring. He's definitely have inspired a large number of modern artists, both in the movies and like design, but also in painting and Gothic art. Putting horror and pain and suffering with sex and phallic, elements, and freaking Punch and Judy holding a dildo and all these kind of like strange things. I've never seen that. It's unique, it's different at the time, and yet now we see art that's trying to do stuff like this, or at least inspired by it times. And it's pretty out there. I mean, it's like, I would like to get the book on him just to like study it more, because it's not all about that. I mean, he can do some beautiful, his work is beautiful. His technique is beautiful. Subject matter, I don't know. I mean, that's up for debate, I suppose, but his technique, the way he's drawing this, the skin and the like veins underneath the skin is quite impressive. And there's a sheen, like a super smoothness to this, like almost shell-like, pieces, metal or whatever they are. It's very impressive just on a technical aspect. Okay, the brothers Hildebrand. These two guys, interesting how they kind of went off in two different worlds. Tim and Greg both worked together. And then later on, after doing so much work together at Star Wars, they separated and kind of like went off into their own little worlds. But I wouldn't say they're my top guys, but they're so well known, you have to give them props. We talked about J.R.R. Tolkien, and of course, they do Tolkien. They do a lot of fairy tale type stuff. And it's a little more, although that's not as tame, I guess. I was going to say it's a little more tame, but not as much. Catherine Jones. So, Jeffrey Catherine Jones. Frazetta said she was one of the best artists. There is, again, I think there is a Wyeth quality, like a Andrew Wyeth quality to the work. I love the way the figures are. I love the dynamic element. It's got a little bit of that kind of impressionist kind of mark making, or maybe not mark making, but just like, painting style. This feels like more fine art for the. That's a horrible thing to say because it really doesn't make any sense, but it just feels like this work I would see more in a gallery than Frazetta's work. There, I said it. Take that what you will. That's just my kind of gut feeling. It's beautiful though. It's freaking beautiful. And I do want to learn how to paint like her, him, they. So it's just if you just look at the beautiful richness of color, the depth that you see is just quite incredible. Yeah, I love that. I love the line. I love this outline. Yeah, it's a real freaking deal, man. It's good stuff. Okay, Rodney Matthews. I don't know Rodney Matthews as much, but it's cool. I'm down. I do like these dragons. This feels like 70s, kind of like 70s fantasy stuff when there was a stylization of characters And line work, very kind of edge. There's Mobius. I forgot he was in this. So he's one of my guys. I talk about him all the time. I don't know if I need to say more than I've said, but we can just sit here and look at the art. Appreciate it. I mean, he's comics. He's comics. He's storytelling. And there's storytelling in his art. There's like something's going on. What is it? What is this saying? What's happening? I love this too, by the way. It's so good. This is a beautiful piece too. Definitely stylized, again, inspired. I mean, the reason why these are masterpieces of art, because they're like, there's such iconic artists. There's stuff like this, which looks, different than his work. He has a lot of different styles and tools he used. He went digital in the later years. Was able to do that quite efficiently as well, so he can throw down. Rowena. Not really familiar with Rowena, but again, looks like a paperback artist type illustrator. Looks very clean, oil, illustrative, Boris type guy. Oh, this guy I would like a lot too, San Julian. Look at that. I like the more painterly stuff. I like the stuff where it's not super rendered or super kind of like, I'm saying airbrush, but just super clean. I like things that are a little more rough, a little more gestural. You can tell that by my love of Sienkiewicz and Bob Peak and those guys. Al Parker. I like this stuff though. I like this guy's work. We're getting towards the end. That's pretty too. Good stuff. There's Boris Vallejo. I thought we did Boris Vallejo already. Okay, I guess we did. Boris Vallejo. Muscular women. Tough chicks. Tough chicks with honking dudes. He kind of took, here's my take. He took what Frazetta was doing and just bumped up the cleanliness to it, the muscular to it, and just like was prolific. And Frazetta passed away and Boris is still going. And he's just like, okay, I can get a model, put him in a pose, put a mythical creature next to it, and boom. And that's how he rolls. And I don't mean, maybe I'm just being unfair by distilling that down, because this is like a lot of work and skill. But I'm not trying to say it's not, but he's definitely like, that's the kind of illustrator he is. And that's what he enjoys doing, clearly. That's what he's doing. All these tough chicks. So, got nothing but love. Oh, Michael Whalen is great too. Not much on him though. We're towards the end, yeah. Okay, that's the end of the book. I think we're about, but a little bit of, yeah. Okay, that's it. Thanks for watching. Check out all my other videos and such on the channel, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.